All right, we're good.
Ready? Hi everybody, this is Hondo Carpenter from Spartan Nation, along with the legend, doesn't need an introduction, the great one, George Blaha. How are you, friend?
Great, Hondo. Wonderful to be on with you, and nice to meet your son Duffy as well.
This is my son Duffy, joining us for the first time. How are you, son?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. I gotta ask this: how did they get you away from treetops long enough to come and talk some football?
Well, you know, I do love college football, love doing the Spartan games, and when it's this time of the year, you better get ready.
I know.
And it's a beautiful drive down from northern Michigan, and I'll be driving up after I do a speech for the Oakland County alums of MSU tomorrow night. So it's a nice time of the year, really. If you don't mind driving, it's great. The lake, and then the stadium, then back to the lake.
I agree. George, I want to ask you about this Spartan football team. We know how good the defense is. They're exceptional. Really, the questions for this team are on offense, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. And my feeling is if they're average on offense, they'll win 8 or 9 games. And if they're above average on offense, double digits. And that's with a tough schedule. We know what the schedule looks like. But they very well could be the surprise team in the USA.
I'm going to ask you this question because I've said it. Last year, the offense was like 117th in the nation. It was pitiful. If they can get to 50 with this defense, I think they'll win the Big Ten. Agree or disagree with me?
Well, if they'd be a top 50 offense,
Yeah.
I agree with you.
And I don't think that's a lot to ask from a Power 5 program. And Michigan State is one of the halves. I don't think that's too hard of a jump, do you?
Well, I think there have to be some healthy guys. I mean, last year they were just obliterated in terms of losing players. I don't know how many player games they missed. Coach D'Antonio was talking recently.
Close to 100
Yeah.
starts.
96 starts or something like that. So, and there are a couple of guys that have to stay healthy. Brian will look at one of them, obviously. But with this defense and a top 50 offense, they very well could play in the Big Ten championship game and win the darn title.
With an average offense, which I think a 50th is, I don't see anyone on their schedule they can't beat. I don't think that you circle all of them and say guaranteed wins, but I don't see anyone that can't beat.
I agree. Everybody knows how difficult it is to move the ball and to score against these guys who play on this defensive unit in Michigan State. And how'd you like to try to run the ball against Mike Ponashuk and Raekwon Williams with Joe Bocci standing right behind him?
With Kenny Willekes, who's an NFL first-round pick, and Jacob Panashuk.
On the ends.
And Joe Bocci and all those linebackers.
So, I don't know how many teams are going to be able to score 25 points against these guys. I think half of the teams they play won't. And so, if you're looking at mid-20s from your offense, you're going to win most Saturdays.
All right, let me ask you this question, because this guy is enamored with this defense. And he said, Dad, I got to ask Mr. Blaha a question. What's your question for Mr. Blaha?
You're a living legend around here. You've been here for a while. How truly good was last year's defense?
Well,
A living legend.
all right, that's very nice. You're too kind. But last year's defense was one of the top 5 defenses in Michigan State history, in my opinion. And I've been paying attention to Michigan State since I was a student at Notre Dame, and the Spartans came in when I was a freshman and beat the Irish, I want to say 31-7. And I'm looking up there and looking at all these great athletes, these great players. My friend Sherman Lewis was on that team, and there were a number of other great players. But I thought, man, I got to pay attention to this Michigan State group. They're fun to watch, and they're very good. And Duffy always has a trick up his sleeve. And so I've been paying attention to Michigan State ever since. And that's to take it back to the 60s, even before the Bubba Smith 60s, before the middle 60s. And so through all those years of watching Michigan State football, I think last year's was the top 5 offense.
I agree. I want to ask you one question quickly about that defense. There were several times they just ran out of gas. I mean, the offense with 3-and-out, 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 couldn't score any points. Where they gave up some points at the end of games just simply exhausted. Had there been any offense, I think it would have been better than the Rose Bowl year. Do you think I'm stretching it a little bit?
Would have been as good, and maybe slightly better. I mean, I think it's we're talking about, well, what if, but still, I think it's a fair statement to say these guys did get gassed at times because the offense didn't really bail them out.
Two more quick questions. You know this, championship teams have good special teams. And man, the Spartans are as good as anybody. With Jake Hartbarger in Coughlin, they're as good as anybody.
Yeah, it's not just, of course, the place kicker and the punter, but you need really skilled guys at those positions, and I wouldn't trade either one of them. So if the rest of the special teams group responds, and if they figure out the return game, just so it's not, you don't want it to be so-so. Why not have it be better than so-so? Then there'll be nothing this team can't do. Now, in order to do what you need to do on offense, however, yes, Brian Lewerke has to stay healthy, and the offensive line has to stay healthy as well. Get the right guys in the right places, and then hope that you don't suffer more than maybe one injury.
Lastly, we're talking about this 2019 Spartans. When you look, we know how good the defense is, but when you look at those defensive backs, they lose a starting corner who's now playing for Pittsburgh, a starting safety who's now tearing it up in Indianapolis, and Kari Willis, and Justin Lane. Josiah Scott's a potential first-round corner who was injured last year. David Dowell. They just keep reloading in the defensive backfield, don't they?
Well, this is the no-fly zone. Don't fly over Spartan Stadium. I mean, this is a secondary that has traditionally been very, very difficult to deal with. And, you know, Josiah Scott and Josh Butler are going to do a heck of a job at corner, and they got guys behind them too. And I think they're going to replace Kari Willis maybe by committee in terms of his great intellect and leadership. But there are talented guys back there who will play the game the right way. And when you're behind a front seven like that, it makes all the difference in the world.
I think I could play corner. Well, maybe not. This is the legend himself, the great George Blaha. First time my son's joined us. My son Duffy, man, my two favorite people in the whole world. We'll have plenty more at Spartan Nation.